Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and welcome to another episode of the Choking Hazard podcast. This is our fourth episode with my co-hosts. Got it right this time. Co-hosts.
Got it.
Sugar-free Nos over that side and RDT down there. We don't have a guest this week. We're just going to be just us three rambling on about, whatever we decide to ramble on about. Just life. Life, the universe,
liberty.
Everything.
And the pursuit of happiness.
We're topics are going to be, we're going to talk about my experiences at Rockstar that we had. Obviously, I visited Rockstar earlier this week, so we'll talk about that. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the podcast itself, the show, how it's gone over the last few weeks. Have a bit more chat and viewer interaction and things like that. We were not late. We were absolutely bang on time, so you can stop that in the chat. And yeah, just go over the first few weeks and give our thoughts on how it's gone and what we might be able to do to make it better in the future as well.
It's always about getting better and progressing, making the show better. So
that's what it always is.
Yeah, as much as we can.
But I've joined
you guys.
I've joined the RDT train with a cool, refreshing beverage of apple juice.
You're up there, right? I'm not wrong.
I am indeed. Yes. Do you want to clink
that way?
Clink glasses?
There
you go.
I have water, so.
Okay.
Congratulations.
At least one of us will be.
Alabama. It's probably the first time in months.
Don't worry, it's from the creek. It's authentic Alabamian.
It's from the crick? You didn't say crick, so it's not authentic.
Oh, okay, maybe not.
Is it actual water? It's not something.
Yeah, it's water. Yeah,
it's not
water.
shine. It's not moonshine.
It's just water. You wouldn't tell if it was something else, but.
Bruffy, absolute madman. That's all I'm having. I'm not like RDT level or anything like that.
This is officially cracking one open every 5 minutes.
Yeah. This is officially a podcast about the podcast. It will be. We'll talk about Rockstar first, but yeah, it's going to be a podcast about the podcast. So meta. I just realized.
Let's get right into the big news.
Yeah, hang on though. I just realized that I forgot to mute the sounds. Okay, which I can't do until somebody does something. Okay, well. When someone either subscribes or donates or gives some bits, then I'll be able to mute the sounds. But the first sound will play. Just because I forgot to do it before.
Yeah.
You
gotta give me money before I can mute it. Yeah, that's a good job.
No, I muted it before we started the previous times. I just forgot to do it this time.
Someone give this man $3.33. Right.
Grab my phone.
Damn it.
Oh, what a scumbag.
Nietzsche with the 3 months in a row. Thank you. Okay, I've thanked you now. Right, we can mute. There we go. We're all good. We had a 3 month subscriber. Professional start as always.
It's the way these always go.
This way, yeah. There's always got to be something that goes wrong. Now the donations are coming in because people. I didn't say it though. I didn't say donate. You said donate. You said people should. See, they're all coming in now, and they're all getting. None of the sounds are coming through.
All of these are actually going to me, by the way. So.
Sorry, guys who are donating. I do, as always, after the end of the podcast, I do play them all through, and we reread them out, just not during the podcast. But anyway, professional start. I've managed to get the intro right this time with the co-hosts instead of the guests.
Yeah, we're co-hosts. Now we've been promoted.
But I messed up on the sounds. I did mess up on the sounds.
From weekly guests.
Yeah, well done. How do you feel about your new promotions to co-hosts?
It feels familiar.
It feels like just as much of a mistake as the last 3 weeks. So another week, another mistake.
Okay, so yeah,
let's get right into the big news.
Eventually, there's going to come a point where things work, and I get the start of these.
No, they won't.
They will. I have confidence. But there'll be one-off week where it'll just work. And then it'll be back to normal.
Yeah, what? That's when you know everything's gonna go wrong when everything goes right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so what? Right into the news. The Rockstar.
No.
Let's get rolling.
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
No. Don't you imitate that dumb gnome. let's just get right into the big trip that Gruff went into.
And
Went
indeed.
on.
Well,
Where'd you go?
I went to Rockstar's London offices.
Oh, shit.
Down there in London.
Going to the big city, huh?
Gone to the big city. I'll explain quickly how it came about, I guess, because it was to do with you guys. It was a Friday stream, and I was streaming, I think it was BioShock, and Rockstar went live, and I said jokingly, oh, we should go into Rockstar's chat since they went live. And it was a joke. I said, okay, don't do it. And then the next thing that I know is people in the chat come back and say, oh, we went into Rockstar stream. Because of
just
course.
Like when you say I'm bang on time and people donate 701 anyway.
Exactly.
You're just joking.
Exactly.
But
so it was an unofficial raid of Rockstar stream for those diehards who were in the Friday stream back then. And
I think I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was the guys who went into Rockstar Stream got this going for me, so it turned out I'd actually sent them an email months prior about potentially showcasing GTA racing again on a live stream and stuff like that, but they forgot to respond to it, so I just thought, oh, they're not interested. They ignored it. And it wasn't until everybody went back into the stream and did that little unofficial raid that they remembered that I'd sent them that email, and we started talking about me going down to the London offices. So it's all you guys who you diehards who were in that Friday stream. You're the ones who set this all in motion.
Very cool.
So
yeah, good job, everybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They forgot. That's exactly what I'm saying. They forgot.
Yeah, they
I
forgot.
live with people, so I'm, stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah, forgot. So I went down and it was quite informal. I didn't actually even get to look around their offices or anything like that because they were getting it refurbished and things like that.
No spreadsheets?
No spreadsheets. I didn't see any spreadsheets. It was disappointing. But
Wow.
So I went down and we I met up with the guys over there, and we went out for a meal and stuff like that. Just chatted about all sorts of different things, GTA, Rockstar, and all sorts of other things as well. And I guess I learned a little bit about what happens and how things go on and things like that. But don't ask me questions about future DLCs or anything like that, because I have no idea. I didn't learn.
What we can go ahead.
Go on. What?
Well, what we can ask you is what you asked them. So, what was your first question? And if it wasn't about a certain sports car that is misallocated, I'm gonna be.
It wasn't my first question, but it did get mentioned.
All right.
It definitely got mentioned.
What was your first question to Rockstar?
I think it wasn't really a sort of. It wasn't necessarily a question and answer interview type thing. It was more just chatting.
Well, it was informal.
Yeah, it was super informal. So I guess mainly because you've always got to think about who you're talking to, and this is something that I learned as we were actually going through and talking about things. I'm not talking to the dev team here. I'm not talking to the people who are programming the game, the people who are deciding what class cars go in. I'm not talking to the people who make all those decisions about the future of the game. And they said that themselves, that they might not necessarily know they don't know what's happening in the next 6 months or a year, or whatever. The dev team might be working on things 6 years in the future, but they don't know. They get told essentially when they need to know. So I was talking to the PR and community team essentially.
Okay, so that was the full lineup of it was PR and community team. That was it.
It wasn't anybody who's actually like working on creating the game itself or programming it or anything like that. So I was talking to the guys who we would see posting newswire things, who manage the social media and things like that, and they do that for the UK side. And then there's the New York offices that do that for the US side, and they're the sort of the main one. And I would imagine that there's other languages and community teams for other languages as well. But yeah, the main development is in Edinburgh, then Rockstar North up there. That's where the development happens. I was just talking to the people who are part of the community team. But
all right, well, tell us how the conversation went. We get that. We get the idea. Come on.
Okay.
I gotta know.
All right. Okay. So those guys watch everything. They know what's happening.
Really?
They know what's happening in the GTA community. They know. That's
Really?
it. That's
Then
their
they
job.
have no power. They have none. If they're
Well,
watching everything.
that's what I'm gonna come on to, because it's their job to immerse themselves in the community. So they watch my videos. They knew all about my videos. They
Told you.
Yeah,
I knew
yeah,
it.
that's it. They watch all the videos. They read the forums. They read the Reddit. It's their job to know everything about what the community is saying and the community feeling.
Sounds like a fantastic job.
GTA.
Let me just say that.
Sounds like a terrible job, actually. Imagine just being online.
No, I'd so take all I got to do is read hate, but I can't do anything about the hate because I'm just a PR guy. I can't tell them what to do, so it's just fine. I just sit and read Reddit all day. I mean, that'd be a great job. That'd be fantastic.
Well, that's the thing that they even said this morning when they realised, because they must have been watching the live stream on Wednesday where I mentioned, they said to me this morning that they'll be watching this as well, because they know that I'm going to be talking about the visit in general. So I don't know whether they're going to be watching it right now live, but they will be watching it at some point. They could be here, they could be watching it right now, but they will definitely be tuning in at some point.
So they're making sure you don't say anything that you're not supposed to say. They're gonna send people to take you out.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that, and the chat will start to go a bit wild now.
Yeah.
So
maybe
maybe
I'm the Rockstar guy.
It's their job to there it is. There it is. It's their job to immerse themselves in everything that's going on. But the impression that I got was that there's a certain amount of disconnect between the people who are developing the game and the people who are listening to the community and promoting the game and things like that.
I think we could have told you that one.
I know.
This is news to me. I've never what?
But what I mean is, like, we always go mad at Rockstar for the decisions that they make, and we might, get at them on the emails, on the comments on newswire posts, on Twitter or whatever. But the people who are actually reading all that stuff aren't the ones who have the power to do anything about it anyway. So, to me, I find it fascinating to understand how Rockstar works as a company, and who makes the decision to put the blister compact in the sports class, who decides that the GP1 has downforce instead of a spoiler. Like, I would love to speak to the guys who are making those decisions.
Yeah, I bet you want to do more than speak.
Oh, I would love to speak to those guys.
Get into a cage match with one of them, maybe.
Speak to them.
It would be a fine conversation, I'm sure.
I could not imagine the rant if you had that guy sitting in the chair in front of you.
No, but
blown tire. No,
I would
stop outing me.
I would be, I'm genuinely interested in that. So I was kind of, my questions up to the guys who we were talking to when I went down there were more about how it works, how these things work. And like I said, they don't get the information until they need to know it, and in a time limit where they can then start to pump out get prepared all events and newswire posts and social media things and stuff like that. So to me, it's interesting that we still don't really know what is happening at Rockstar. They're such a private company that we don't know what is happening on the dev side of it. We talked to the community team, we talked to the PR team, like I did, but it's not that they're being, it's not that they're not telling us about what's happening in more depth. It's that they don't know either.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was brought up...
horribly inefficient.
It does sound horribly inefficient.
Why do they even have a job? I mean, no offense to you guys watching, but if you can't, I mean, what purpose do you serve if you can't communicate what the community wants to the game or to the developers.
Well, the thing is, they might, you know, they might.
Well,
they probably do have this back and forth to a certain extent, but
every change they suggest certainly isn't going to happen.
Yeah, that's it. And we've seen various different things that we've suggested over the years get put into the game at a very slow pace. Even the most recent one with pedestrians being able to be turned off. I put that up as part of like the racing DLC post that was 2 years ago or whatever it was. So things do filter through, but if it's, you know, it's the dev team that are creating the game, if they aren't fully immersed in the community like the community team are, then the community team can send all these suggestions that people have to the dev team, but it's ultimately the dev team that are deciding what goes in and what doesn't go in. Probably not even based on community, how much the community wants it, more based on what's easy to put in, what's difficult to put in, what will take more time, things like that. So it is interesting to me how that communication goes between them, and I still don't know really. You know, I didn't. Again, this is the first time that I'd ever met anybody at Rockstar. I didn't want to go too hard and start asking all these questions about blah blah blah.
How many people total?
Just start burning bridges.
How many people total? Was it like a table of 16 or
4 people?
Okay.
4 people. And their officers supposedly have maybe 60 people in the offices in the UK. The New York side has maybe 200 people or so they said. And then the development team in Rockstar North may have maybe 500, 600 people working there. It was actually brought up that a lot of people think that Rockstar is a lot bigger than what it is. So there is, you know, they have a certain number of people. They can't devote a lot. Like, that's why we always say that GTA Online now has probably a very small amount of people working on it, because the dev team are working on
just a small little
stuff.
indie game.
Indie game, yeah, I know. And that is true. What Hawk says, what Hawk says in the chat, that, you know, that there is the business aspect as well that's in conflict with the wishes of the community. So
plus the job description of those 2 people that you're talking about. Like, you met with someone whose job is literally to look at the community and be involved in the community, and then someone who just spends hours upon hours coding a car and designing, you know, some DLC. Their lives are so different, and their enjoyment of their jobs are so different that the developer really could not give any Fs. Are we allowed to swear on this?
I don't know. Maybe every little bit, but ideally
no. Don't swear. We might get advertising.
Oh yeah, family friendly. We got to be family friendly podcast. Friendly. Yeah, that's true.
Couldn't give a shoot.
Yeah, but I agree with that, because it did seem like I know. I think it was last week that Nos mentioned it. That like Rockstar seems to be not a very nice place to work based on various reports and things like that. But I would say that if that is true, that would be for the dev side of it, because it seemed like a very nice and chilled out and happy place to work based on what I was talking to the PR and community team and stuff like that. That it does seem like a nice place to work on their side. And, you know, they're doing all the front-facing stuff. Everything that you see from Rockstar comes from them. So they're working on that aspect.
Okay.
But they're not working on the actual game itself. That's the dev team that do that. And like Hawk said, the dev team, or the people who make decisions about what the dev team is going to develop, probably have the people above them wanting more monetary aspect for the game. Then they've got the community team coming in with all the suggestions that the community want, and they have to find a midpoint somewhere and ultimately make a car and code it badly, and then we get all angry about it. But you know, I guess being in the middle of that isn't easy.
I'm sure it's not. But I mean, with some of these things, it seems like do you really need to be immersed in the community to question these things? Like, when you have a car that is named the Ballista Compact, that is not the Compacts class. When you have a terribly performing car, I mean, like, you don't really have to be immersed in the community to change some of these things. So it's very odd that some of these things do happen on the development side. Just like, why do they happen in the first place? You know, you don't have to run it by anybody to realize that this is kind of a dumb move. So,
well, that's why. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. That's why I say that I would always want to talk to the people who make those decisions, because that's when you get the actual. Is it just that? My theory has always been that you've got some people programming the car from an actual programming standpoint of making, you know, all the handling stats that we look at now. People doing that, and then you've got other people who are designing the bodies for the cars, and then some people who put things together and then decide what class it goes in, and maybe there's you know, communication errors going through these people, and one person who decides what class it goes in.
The body guy is irrelevant, in my opinion. He is irrelevant. All right, he can make a good-looking car, he can make a bad-looking car, whatever. The guy you want to talk to is the performance guy.
Yeah,
if I have a wager, it's a different guy for each single car, because it seems like each single car, or at least each single DLC, every car is made with like a different way of thinking about it. It seems.
But that's what I was going to say. That's what I was getting to.
It's got to be somewhat different every time.
Yeah, there'll be multiple people making various different decisions, and one person might not understand the programming side of it, so he puts the Blister Compact into the sports class because it looks like a sports car, say, in his opinion.
It does,
but he doesn't actually. I know. Okay, I'll just suspend your belief for a second. All right.
Oh,
but you know what I mean. I'm getting to that.
Vehicle you got there.
Like non-car guys working on the cars. That's who we're working with.
Yeah, because I've always felt that the people who are actually programming the cars know what they're doing. But then again, like you say, if there are some people...
One of them knows what they're doing. Some of them know what they're doing, and some of them don't.
Yeah, if there's multiple people making cars, one might know what he's doing and then do it correctly, and one might not. And then, it's not as if it's just one person who creates the body and the design and the how it handles, and then decides all the class that it goes in and how it's presented and things like that. And probably a lot of the issues that we see come from a team maybe not working together properly, or not one person not understanding what the other person is doing or how it all works together. Whereas if it was just one person, which wouldn't be possible because it's too much work for one person to do, and you need a lot of different skills to be able to bring it all together. But if it was just one person doing all the cars, then you would know. I mean, ideally, they need sort of like, I don't know, like a consultant. Someone sort of above,
if you need all that many people
who can sort of like just one person above like all the team who kind of can look at all the cars without having to actually program them themselves and decide that, oh well, that car will be perfect for that class, and then that car will be perfect for that class. So you have one person above who just decides where everything goes and things like that, because he's getting an overall view of all the cars, and then he can do some testing of the cars maybe, and see that, you know, one car's a little bit slower, so he can say to the dev team, oh, you need to make that a little bit quicker if you want it to be as good as it is. And, you know, maybe they need someone...
That they should to take them all around the circuit to find the best use?
Yeah, you could have someone employed to do that and
I don't know.
Make the decisions.
Let's not get crazy here. No. Maybe.
Let's not get crazy. Let's not get too crazy. What? Yeah, testing all the vehicles around the circuit. Let's not get crazy. Only a crazy man would do that.
Maybe someone would test them also in a format where braking, acceleration, and traction don't matter. Yeah, whatever.
They take them to an airport, shoot them down the line. Whichever's faster is the best car. It's easy as that.
Easy as that. the chat conned under what I was doing. But yeah, it was really interesting to go down and speak to those guys and get a better understanding of I guess the limitations that they would have, because I don't know whether you saw me tweet it out that when I got down there I tweeted, if you could ask one question to Rockstar, what would it be?
I saw that. How many of those tweets were the Blister Compact?
There were
Give me
a few.
Percentage.
There were a few about car classes as well. Maybe 10% were about the Blister Compact and car classes in general. Maybe 20% were about the game, how the game runs and fixing it and stuff like that. But like I did that just to kind of get an impression of the kind of questions that people would want to ask if they had the chance. And when I went through all, because there was so many replies to that tweet, I've got to say, people on Twitter who answered that question, what good stuff. I've never had a tweet get that many replies. When I looked through all the questions, I just thought, I can't ask 90 to 95% of these to the people who I'm talking to, because they don't know. Like, why is the ballistic compact in sports? They don't know.
What was the answer? What was the answer though? You asked them, I'm sure.
No, actually, I didn't actually ask them. I mentioned it, but I didn't ask. I did mention it, but I didn't actually specifically ask. Why is the ballistic?
Like,
because what's the point?
Small issue with
why? Like, because I want to see if they're like, because you can gauge like their level of outrage. If they're, yeah, man, I'm right there with you. I don't know why they did that, or that's their response. You can kind of, that would be useful to gauge the level of interaction that they have with the dev team. Like if they put something that simple towards them and they haven't done it, are they frustrated by that? So,
okay,
you know.
Well, next time I'm down there. I know you had one job.
Next time
I can't believe you. So you mentioned it. All right. In what format did you mention it, and what was the reply? Then?
I can't remember.
Oh my! I'm gonna leave.
How much apple juice
going
did
to
you
get
have
up
that
and
day?
walk.
I had wine at the time.
Oh, of course.
Grape apple juice. Come on.
I mentioned it.
You had wine.
It was during like the conversation of
grape juice.
I think it was during the conversation of like the when I was talking about all the questions and things that people were asking me, and I mentioned about Twitter, and I mentioned that the most common question was people were just wanting to ask them to fix their game, and then I mentioned about the ballistic compact during that as
basically.
Well, but.
And they didn't give you a reply, or you?
Not really. It was during a sort of real life joke. God damn it! It was during that conversation of sort of.
You see, you couldn't have just gone down there, asked some good questions, and stayed sober. You had to go down there and have wine. Really?
Well, I couldn't be.
You can't burn bridges. Right on
I
first,
couldn't be mean.
Asking why the ballistic compact is in sports class, not burning a bridge.
Just go down there, start knocking papers over, just like, give me answers. You can't do that.
No.
You can't just say.
I'm not suggesting.
RDT knows. Nos would have gone down there, and he would have had a full-on rant on the first person he met, and then that would have been he wouldn't have got invited ever again.
No, you got to format your questions in an acceptable manner. You just skipped right over that. You just hopped right over the questions and got drunk on wine. That's what you did.
You're like
That's
that. You're like that lady. That lady from the Humongous videos. Like, what's the what class is the ballistic? It's in sports cars. What does that mean? What is that? It's in sports cars. I don't know.
But you know, I couldn't exactly sit there.
That's true. I would have had Blade do it.
It was the reason that they invited me down. We haven't actually covered that. The reason that they invited me down is because, they're aiming to make the London officers very similar to the New York officers. You know how they do the live streams and things like that from the New York officers.
Yeah.
So they've been doing all the refurbishments and stuff from London. So
they want to streamer rooms and whatnot.
Yeah, they want to build up that infrastructure so that they can start doing streams from the London offices as well, because it's obviously more accessible to people in the community in the UK and in Europe. So they invited me down to just kind of meet up and chat and things like that. You know, just get to know each other, so that when they want people to have onto these streams, we're already knowing each other, and you know, they can just invite me down, and I can do a stream with them if they want that. If they still want me after this, this is it now. They know that next time, if I ever speak to them again, you guys will force me to ask all these questions.
I totally forgot they
were watching. Look, you've got to know how to, like, here, I'll tell you exactly how to format this question.
Here we go.
All right. Look, guys, I know you probably don't have an answer for me, but I'm obligated by my community. Why is the ballistic compact in the sports class? That's all you do. Like, but you don't have to go down there and berate them.
I asked that same sort of thing. I felt like because it was, you know,
you
over the
don't
course of
remember what
one
you did. You were
evening
drunk.
of one evening of talking. We weren't just talking, having issues. It's not as if we were only talking about GTA and about Rockstar. We were just talking about all sorts of other things. It was just you know, a gathering and getting to know people. So it's not as if, you know, in that situation, I'm not going to just hand them or continually bring the conversation always back to GTA or Rockstar or my own personal. I'm not going to bring the conversation back to my own personal agenda all the time. I'm just going to let the conversation flow.
That's what it's all about. It's all about your agenda.
Everything in life is just making you better.
Well, I like to think I was polite. All right, I like to think
I'm sure
I was a good guest and I was polite and you know, we just had a good time and I asked a few things. I got some information, but I didn't want to push it too much.
Yeah. You know, it's just like we talked about last week. 8 Mile. You have your second chance, just like B-Rabbit has the second chance. Yeah. You know,
I feel
you'll go back. You won't choke.
I can feel the pressure from everybody in the chat. I can feel it from you guys. I can feel that disappointment.
No pressure. Just a happy little question.
Disappointment
my blood pressure
in me.
Going up.
I can't believe it.
A little bit on edge.
It's
you
today
went down there and drank wine
Rockstar.
and talked about the French election with Rockstar. That's basically what you did. That's what you did. You just went down there and talked about news.
So, how you been?
I did.
Like an ex-girlfriend, you're like, how you been? You been good? Yeah. Okay. Nice.
I did mention that they could have somebody.
I haven't seen you since the crew versus crew battle. How are you?
Well, I mean, it wasn't the same people from then as well. So
I know.
I did ask though. I did ask about the British voice guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's an interesting question. Good job. What info did you get on British voice guy?
See, this is what I'm saying. You're going to be disappointed. I was going to say this at the start of the video that I was going to make on this instead of bringing it to the podcast. I was going to say that you're going to be disappointed by everything that happened because you're expecting so much and expecting me to come back with all these answers. And
I'm not.
On the one hand,
expecting something more than wine and general discussion.
Wine, cheese, and just shooting the shit. Like, come on, man. You gotta get down to the issues that we need to know.
No, with him, like he obviously doesn't work there anymore, as we all know.
Yeah.
But
we might all not know that, but.
Yeah, I said I would love to meet him to get his opinion of what that stream was like. It was an absolute car crash of a stream. I'd love to speak.
He doesn't even remember it. I bet it was so unimportant to him.
Yeah, that's
he doesn't
true.
Even remember it.
Yeah,
he doesn't remember your name. He doesn't remember Shaggy's name. He doesn't even remember what happened because it was so irrelevant and unimportant to him. That is probably the real truth.
Yeah, probably. So they didn't really know what he was doing now, and even if they did and told me, I wouldn't be mentioning it to hundreds of people.
Yeah,
anyway.
obviously.
But like, when they first started doing the live streams, because Rockstar have always been, they never have like, you know how some gaming companies they'll have a person as their front man or someone who talks and someone who's
community manager.
Yeah, community manager, and you know who that person is, one person, and that's it. Rockstar aren't like that, and we've always known this.
Like that guy from the Overwatch team, what's his name? That does all the dev blogs. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
But yeah, like that sort of thing. Like, but Rockstar aren't like that. They don't have the personal person. They don't have a person out there. They've never had that. They don't put any personal information out there about people working and behind the scenes and things like that. So when they came to do these sort of live streams, they needed to have a
Jeff
voice.
Kaplan. Thank you, Sean.
They needed to have a voice of a front man to do that. And they ended up, he turned out to be the one to do it. And they wanted it to be kind of so that he didn't have his personality as much as possible. It sounds weird, but like I say, they don't want a front man personality. They want it just to be.
They want
Rockstar.
British voice guy. They want generic British voice guy.
They want generic British voice guy who can be the sort of real person incarnation of the voice of Rockstar. But then over the course of doing all these live streams, he naturally, because you would and you just yourself out there, he naturally created the persona of British voice guy. And then when he left, it was quite, you know, a big change with the live stream sort of stuff, because you've had this person who becomes
there's characters. Yeah,
yeah, he is a character who people.
He is a character. Now the people that are on there now are characters.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I don't watch their streams too often. Sorry, but you know, I know that there are specific people, you know, and they have names. So.
Yeah,
people do tend to have names.
Well, British voice guy. That's not a real name.
There was what were the devs called in that crew battle?
If you named your child British voice guy.
There was Wolfman, was one of the devs.
Wolfman. He's still there.
Is he?
I believe on the streams. Yeah, he's.
I still don't believe that they're devs. I know they say that they were the devs. I'm not sure
you call their bluff.
They're part of the community team, like all the others. But
I chose the jester? Did that
that was Wolfman, wasn't it? I think, and I can't remember the name of the other one.
I think you're just racist and think all black people sound the same. I think.
Oh,
I think that might be the problem.
What?
That's coming from an Alabama.
He might
know that's bad when someone from Alabama.
He might be the same guy. I don't know. I'm just giving you crap.
Wow.
So yeah, it was interesting to get that aspect, and they were another thing that they were talking about was that they never expected GTA to turn into what it has.
Kirsty probably has some info for you. She's I know her, so
yeah.
So there's Wolfman, Clang, and Honey Badger. Okay,
I don't remember. I know Wolfman, but I don't. Those names don't ring a bell for the other dev who was in the races with us.
I don't know. I don't know if he had a name. Yeah. I thought it was just Rockstar Dev too. Yeah.
No, there were definitely names. We're gonna watch that back. It's still, the archive is still on Twitch, on Rockstar's Twitch. We've got to watch that back one stream. Just put it.
Wait, did you just say they didn't think GTA was going to become what it is?
No, online. Sorry,
online?
Like
okay. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, it's kind of established already. I don't know.
Yeah. No, the online portion.
Be successful at all.
Like when they started it up, they kept it open, their options of what they were going to do with it, but they never expected it to turn into such a big thing as what it has done. And they've changed their approach to GTA. They've changed their sort of the way that they develop for it in the originally.
Is this your speculation or what?
No, this is what they were saying. This is what they were saying, that when they sort of first started with GTA, it was a product. Like GTA 5 is a game. You buy the game, you play the game. It's a product, and then you play what they make for you. And it was the same with GTA Online. They had the races, and they had missions, and then obviously heists came after a while. But it was a product that they made and they gave you to play. Whereas now they've changed their approach to it such that they see it as a platform for people to do their own things in, rather than a product that they're forcing you to do what they want you to do.
It's funny you say that, considering their stance on modding and the amount of restrictions that are in the game.
That is true.
Platform for what you want to do. It's a platform for whatever you want to do, except it tells you no constantly.
That is exactly
what you want to do.
That was exactly my thoughts as well. That someone, I think it was Puntherline on one of the latest videos, that it's an open world with closed doors. Like that was a great comment, because I thought that makes so much sense. I saw that. It makes so much sense, because maybe it takes time to change the mindset of the people who are actually programming the game. Like maybe the community team act in that way, and they know that that's how it should be, and it's hard for them to get the devs to change their approach of what they've previously been used to. Or maybe it'll all go into the next game, GTA 6. Maybe it'll all filter into that. But it did strike me as odd that they've been, and that's some of the reasons that they've improved the creator. For example, they saw what was happening with the creator, people glitching things to make their own weird stuff, snipers and stunters, things like that. Saw that we're creating really good tracks, and then instead of making better tracks themselves, say, which they did, they tried to make their own tracks, but they focused more on actually giving the creator more tools to do that, so that
and
the
they've done a good
community
job.
can
You gotta give 'em
create
credit.
what it wants
They've
to
done
do.
a pretty good job.
Yeah,
If they would just full blown give us the dev creator, they'd be done basically.
Yeah.
Or at least add in the options we need from it, like removing dynamic props from the world. I mean, it'd be a perfect creator
Yeah.
then.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
only
it. I mean,
problem
when
with
you
it,
think
really.
about
Friggin' polls, man. Am I right? Jeez.
we'll come on to that. We'll come on to that. No, but like when you think back to the very first days of GTA, they didn't even have a creator.
Yeah.
So
It was,
they've
it was a
come,
dark time.
They've come a long way from that. You okay,
I just
Dan?
I just saw Sean's comment, Zakeli.
Yeah, I saw that. I ignored it.
Loud.
They've come a long way from that point, and maybe it's the sort of the old restrictions that they used to have. You know, we still can't store police vehicles or emergency vehicles. We can't race in all the classes that are available in the game. We can't have access to the extra features that the devs get in the creator, like removing polls and things. So we are getting some features in that respect, but we're not getting the full hog. And maybe that's the sort of thing that we will get when it comes to a future game. And
Yeah,
you know,
hopefully
maybe their
it's
mindset
more
will have
open.
changed enough that whatever the next GTA Online offering is more catered to a platform rather than a product. You know, they see it as a service now they're offering. But I guess, you know, it does take time, and it's difficult when you start off with a game that was a product to then turn it into a service. So, or into a platform or whatever you want to call it. So, you know, these things take time, I guess. But I agree. The game is a lot better now than what it was originally.
there.
It is.
Yeah.
It has come a long way, and they have put in a lot of good things to it. There's just always those little niggly bits.
There's always missteps.
There's always something.
missteps
There's always
along
something
the
that we
path.
think, yeah, but if you want to give us all the freedom, then let us do these things instead of having to go to mods to do them instead.
It kind of sounds like before they can really fix the game, they really need to fix their organizational structure. If they don't have communication between the community team and the developer team, why have?
Or if it's so delayed where
like,
it
why do
takes
they have
2
it at all?
years to get a change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to have a quicker connection there. Like that.
I agree.
It's not working out.
If you're trying to offer a platform like they are, instead of just a product, if they, you know, in the early days of GTA, it wouldn't matter if the community suggestions weren't as quick to the dev team as what they are now, as what they should be. But now that they've changed this mindset for it to be a platform and for it to be a service, absolutely, I think the community aspect should be much more important and much more relied upon.
Yeah.
In that respect.
Well, in a perfect world, the developers, these people making the cars, would be just as, enthralled with the community as the community people are, or at least to some degree.
Yeah, in a perfect world. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's, a coder is going to be hired to code a game. They're not going to, they come in, they do their job, and they go home.
Yeah, the devs might not even care about the game or play the game themselves. They just code it, and then that's it. They don't care about what class it goes in or anything like that. Like, I'm sure. Remember that all those leaks leading up to one of the DLCs by that Rockstar dev on that website. I can't remember what DLC
it was on
recent.
some Chan style.
I watched all.
But I
of them
remember
videos.
seeing a question
them.
that was sent
That was
to
for
him.
import export.
Yeah,
Hey, go
I remember
ahead.
a question
What
that
was
was
the
sent to him at one point was, when are you going to fix the classes? And his response was, there's nothing wrong with the classes. So, and he probably was an actual dev who probably just doesn't care enough about the things that us playing the game care about, and the community team care because we care. So they're reading and seeing all our backlash of things, and then it's their job to care about that. They don't have to actually care, they're not going to go home and start thinking about it, but the devs who are programming the game, they don't need to worry about it. They don't take all the flack. They don't take all the social media hate or suggestions. They just program the game
they're
and go
not even
home.
involved.
No.
Yeah. They just give the tires downforce, they go to the house. They,
Yeah.
that's what they do.
Yeah.
So,
It's so ridiculous though what they do change when it comes to classes. Like they put the Sterling just randomly into the sports class.
yeah,
Just cause.
Yeah, but they
Why
don't
not?
actually move. They don't remove it from sports class. They make it available in
Yeah.
sports
No.
class, so they don't
I
fix the
would
problem.
be okay with that. I mean, well, I would be okay with that. You just make my Ballista Compact usable in compact races. Don't
Yeah.
change the class. I don't care what
Yeah.
it says in the
Yeah.
bottom right corner. Just
LG and
erase it.
Supers, we've wanted that forever because
Yeah,
that thing
yeah.
is way too fast.
Yeah, yeah.
But
We
like it's I don't know.
yeah,
It's weird.
yeah. So I think, and you know, the point that I was making was that, I guess, when you have that mindset originally when you create the game, of it being a product,
You have that shift, like
trying to shift that
largely
mindset
Yeah.
it's probably been difficult, and it probably, you know, it might have happened already on the community side, but whether it's happened on the dev side is difficult, or whether it is just slow. But yeah, I think if they see GTA Online now as more of a service and a platform, then hopefully that will better inform the next online offering to be like that from the start. And then hopefully there will be better lines of communication between the dev team or the community team, and more focus is on that sort of thing, hopefully. But yeah, that's kind of just the thoughts that I got from it. I mean, I have to say, everybody who I met was super nice. They were all...
Well, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to invite you down to be a douche. I mean,
Well, I
they're
know
gonna be
that,
nice.
but you know, it was nice to
all these
be
beers?
speaking to someone who was actually involved in the game, even if it isn't the
Yeah,
people
I
who
bet.
I would like to talk to the most. It was still really, really nice to actually be talking to people and getting a bit more
Interesting
more
as well.
information about how Rockstar might work, and because that fascinates me about how these decisions come to be. Yeah, it was really interesting. And maybe if this podcast hasn't ruined it, they will invite me back for a live stream,
It's just
and I
ruined
can
it for me.
I can put the
I'm
keep forgetting they're
blacklisted
watching
at
this.
this point.
yeah, that's it. They're never
You're fine,
gonna
bro.
invite you. I promise
Oh,
that
they
if I
don't worry.
if I ever get the chance to speak with them again, I will ask them the Ballista Compact question, and they're going to give me an answer that you're going to be dissatisfied with, and they'll say, I don't know,
No.
like all the other
Yeah,
answers
I'm
that they would have given
satisfied-
for all the
I
other
am
questions.
satisfied with that answer because
All right.
that examples the disconnect between the suspected disconnect we have between the development team and the community and the PR team. If they say I don't know, that is an interesting answer in itself.
Okay,
So-
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I like how Alex Graham was like, yeah, one topic lasted
One-
48 minutes at this point.
Well, we knew Bruff was gonna go on this.
Yeah,
Well,
our
I was
pre-
ready
our
to
pre-
just talk about it for like 15 minutes,
pre-podcast
but,
meeting was like, this is going
but
to
we
take
had
15
questions.
minutes.
and then you had questions, and then you got on my back about it. So
about going down and getting drunk
Yeah.
and talking about general news.
Phil Hoff asked,
Yeah.
"What did Rockstar ask you?" And then they asked the
Oh.
general things about, you know, the YouTube stuff and the sort of things that most people
How long have
ask,
you been
but-
doing it?
Well, they already knew all that, really. You know, like I said, they know
Do you
the
have a
community.
girlfriend? That's nice.
Well, it actually went, so...
Thanksgiving dinner.
but I've completely lost my train of thought now. I was going to mention something that they did...
It's going to happen every week.
Oh yeah, they were.
honestly.
I know. They were sort of talking about how they've moved their mindset in this respect as well to be more with the community and you know, inviting me down there instead of, say, talking to press or talking to magazines or, you know, media in general.
Yeah, that's
They've
a good
changed
move.
their
I mean,
approach in
because-
that respect to put more
Yeah.
emphasis on YouTubers and streamers and people who are actually playing and enjoying
Yeah,
the
because
game.
we're the people who really care about this game.
Yeah,
You know, that's the thing.
yeah. So
We wouldn't be sitting here ranting about a dumb virtual car that's in the wrong virtual class if we didn't care about the game.
yeah, that's true.
So-
That's true.
Rockstar, you're gonna
Let
get one of
me.
these.
I got a question for you. Did you get any kind of hints or anything towards how they feel about? Goodness, my accent. How they feel, you know, towards like maybe some questionable YouTubers that might be out there. Maybe
I did.
ones with some
okay,
questionable
you'll be
rate
proud
going
of
on
me.
there?
No, this is where you'll be proud of me because I actually said specifically the question.
Oh,
What are your
specifically, really?
thoughts
Really do
about GTA YouTubers? I said I couldn't come here without asking what are your thoughts about GTA YouTubers.
Oh, okay.
But
All right,
again,
here we
you're
go.
going to be disappointed with the answer because they didn't specifically talk about the clickbaity ones, the ones doing that kind of content. They give a more these guys are experienced, man. I've just realized these are experienced PR people who know how to talk.
They spun it.
They know how to talk. I'm pretty good. I just
all of the lawsuits.
I was just wrapped around a little finger, run rings around. No, but they basically they generalized it to all YouTubers and said they really, they even niche things like what we do. They love to see people playing the game in doing their own things and all that kind of stuff. They didn't mention about the people who I was actually asking about, but then again, I didn't actually specifically say the clickbaity scumbag YouTubers.
Yeah, how do you feel about people using your game as a platform to misinform people about your product?
Yeah. But then again, what would
make
again? You got to think.
It.
What are they going to tell me? What answer are they going to give me? That they're not
no
gonna,
comment.
That's no
exactly
comment. So you just got to take what you can get.
We love free advertising. Yeah, I mean that's part of it.
Yeah, that is probably.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter to them really. Yeah, Rockstar get the views and the people hyped for the game regardless of who's delivering that message, and they can.
Yeah,
unless
they make a bad game. Unless they make a bad game, like. Yeah, they're not going to lose sales.
No,
they've proven this.
They keep a distance from what's going on in the community. Specifically, like they said that they never ever comment about rumors. So they can never be.
Well, they should. I mean, they should.
The rumors will drive people to talk about the game, and even if they're not true, Rockstar can say, "Well, we never said anything about it." Yeah, so they keep a distance with that, and that's any publicity is good publicity. That's true. It's keeping them in the forefront of people's minds. True.
I mean, there has to be a certain moral distaste among the individual. I mean, there may not be a negative opinion in a company sense, but in a personal standpoint, there's
maybe
be some distaste.
But then I could have been sat around a table of people who were thinking from a personal standpoint that what I do is stupid and why do we race in this game and we're all nerds.
That's true.
I mean, I don't believe that because they were all very enthusiastic
not.
about gaming in general, so that's not true. But you don't know that. So
I would hope so.
You can't second guess. But you hope so.
Go play a real racing game. Go play Project Cars.
You can't.
For lols, not racing.
You can't second guess what people. Have you asked them about the dev creator and removing light posts? No, because if I asked them, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I said at the start. You've got to know who you're talking to. We're not talking to the people who make the decisions about what goes in the game and what doesn't. So there's only a certain amount of things you can talk about.
Blade points out too with the 5M stuff. I mean, just don't address it, and it drives up sales of your games. You don't have to do anything about it. I'm glad that they're doing that because we're going to have a fantastic experience on there.
I did mention 5M a little bit. I did talk about it. Because we were saying how they always draw the line when it comes to modding of the actual game and money hacks and things like that.
Well, there's a difference in modding and cheating. You have to. Yeah. I mean, for a console pleb, sorry if I've triggered anybody, it can be hard to differentiate the two.
Yeah, but they've always been very supportive of mods in the single player game. So they're now in that sort of strange grey area with the 5M stuff where, and there wasn't really an answer to the question because they probably they haven't really. They don't have one, but it's kind of that new area where the online platform that they've kept pretty locked down is now being used in the modding way outside of the actual. They've always drawn the line about money hacks, but it's outside of that now. So it's probably up in the air what they're going to do with that in the first place. But I triggered. Should we end the conversation about Rockstar now?
I think. I mean,
It's been almost all of
If
We can keep going.
if you are a viewer and you have questions for Bruff, stay tuned for later in the show where you might have the opportunity to ask him yourself if you're a
I
sub
feel
or
like this could
Patreon
be
supporter.
like a 2-hour podcast.
Well, let's
You
talk
wanna
about what we were going to
transition?
talk about, and we'll just see how much time we have left for
Okay.
questions.
Now we were
Well, there
talking
you
about
go.
the dev creator,
Yeah.
and with the dev creator comes creating tracks, and whatnot.
And we know about
We
the dev
have an
creator
issue.
because people are able to access the dev creator via mods in GTA.
Yeah, on PC.
So we know that the dev creator, we know it's got extra features, and we know that there's a feature within the dev creator where you can remove lampposts and remove props that are in the world already, which is something that we've been asking for years.
And lampposts is an issue that we have to discuss. Okay, because I was actually participating in the live stream on Wednesday, and
The content create live stream.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Airs every Wednesdays on twitch.tv/Ruffy132.
Yes.
Every Wednesday.
Anyway, and personally, my favorite track of that was Blue Eyed Malice's creation. That was
That was my
around,
favorite track as well. Let's
one
let's
was?
get that
It
straight.
was,
It was
but
my
you still
favorite
have a
track
lot
as
to
well.
say about
What
it.
area was that in? I watched
Mirror
a little
Park.
bit of it.
Who knows?
Mirror
Okay,
Park. It was the very first track.
Oh, okay, I think I saw it.
Now, you had a particular issue with his use of propping when it came to poles. And I think there was no issue because all of those poles were on a straight. But you seem to think that because of lag issues and because of just general racing stuff, situations, that people will just eventually hit those poles. Now, tell me your side of the story. I want to know why you love propping poles so much.
Okay, let me ask a question in response to that then. Why
my goodness.
leave them open?
Well, there's multiple reasons. There's lack of props because
Yeah, but there was a
Mouse
lot
did
of
use-
props used to cover single posts on that track. You could get rid of all those single
the
post
important
props
ones.
and put a full wall along all the props because, like you say, they were all in a straight line. So you could use one prop, one big long prop to cover them all, rather than a single prop to cover one pole. So why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? What is the reason to leave
Well,
them open?
because he props the important ones. If
But
you're-
why would
I
you
agree-
leave
I
open
agree
any of
with-
them? What's the point?
I agree with propping apex poles, maybe. But either way, in my opinion, if lag is an issue, even if you prop a pole, it's going to fall down anyway. If lag is that bad.
Not
And
if
lag
it's
is not that
completely
bad.
covered within a wall.
It does happen. It does happen. And no matter if you prop a pole or not, would you rather have someone run into a pole and just have a pole down, or would you rather have someone hit into a barrier, shoot their car into the middle of the track, and have 1,000 people run into them? 1,000 people, Bruffy.
So you're saying 1,000 people. So you're saying that
really want that?
when the pole falls over, that those 1,000 people are going to be completely unaffected by that as well.
I think a pole is less in the way than a Dominator race car in the way.
I completely
Because if you
disagree.
bounce off an apex barrier, you're just getting in the way.
But we're talking about a straight. We're talking about all the poles on a straight.
Which you shouldn't hit anyway. Why are people coming on that road? You would need to be 7 cars wide at least to have any.
Yeah, but
issues.
if you're racing side by side, you know what happens in racing. You could be racing side by side, and someone could
I know
slightly
because I
knock
played on the
over.
stream race and it was
You
abysmal.
know, lag, the Xbox One drops down to 10 frames per second, normal things.
Yeah,
I
anything
only
can
need
happen in
5
racing where you might knock over to the side a little bit, and then instead of hitting against a barrier and then continuing on, you hit a pole, and then the pole falls over, and then it affects people behind. It affects you because you slow down because you've hit the pole. Instead of just scraping along the side of a barrier, if you're side by side, and you get forced over to the side, I don't see any reason why you would want to leave them open when they could be covered. And on that track, there were plenty of props used to cover individual poles that could just be changed into longer props that could cover all the poles in one go. And I know that one of the arguments on the actual video last night was that that if you put a barrier in front of all the poles, it chokes the track down and makes it thinner and not narrower, so there's less space. But the poles are the track limit anyway. The poles, you don't go beyond the poles because.
So why prop them?
Why not
just
prop
use that
them?
as natural-
Because if you don't go beyond the poles, then that is the track limit. So
It sounds
that's
to me
where
like
the
a
barrier
philosophical
can be.
question.
The barrier
Like,
should
why
be there.
versus why not?
Yeah, you're
See,
not gonna that part of the track is where the you're not gonna go beyond. So why risk having something that you can hit on the outside that will cause issues for other people than just a barrier where you're gonna slide along it?
Because there's no guarantee that you're gonna slide along it. And then
Yeah, but there
you
is
know
a
that with the
guarantee
props.
that you're gonna hit a pole and knock it down.
No,
Out of the
still,
two
those
options,
poles don't
out
even
of the
do that
two
much
options,
damage.
you wouldn't want to take the risk of hitting a barrier and possibly going off to the side, or a pole where you're definitely going to cause issues for people behind because it's going to get knocked down.
The physics on a straight are good enough that if you hit a pole, it's going to fall down back onto the sidewalk. It's like you're dealing with a pole or a car. Either way, you have a problem.
But there's never a guarantee that when there's a barrier there, that you're going to hit off the barrier and go into the side of the middle of the road on a straight. You could just scrape along it a little bit and continue on as normal. With a pole, you're guaranteed to hit it. And whether the track limit.
All right, and that's all the time we have for that topic.
But here's my last
I disagree
thing.
with both of you. I'm on PC. We just remove poles there. Let's
You
move on.
say that you want a track in Mirror Park.
With
but you wanna
decent
make Mirror Park
racecraft,
less
with
Mirror
decent
Park.
racecraft,
You're trying to
and
gentrify
Yeah.
Mirror
you
Park.
should be able to avoid. You should be able to avoid cars in front of you more often, rather than a random pole. You don't expect a pole to be there. A car you could expect to be there because that's what happens in racing.
Oh god.
We're not gonna agree on this. This could be a topic that continues
There's no
every single
shaping
week.
anyone's opinion.
Alright, we're done.
Rockstar, if you're still watching
podcast in
this,
itself.
no, let me just say something. If you're still watching this, Rockstar, please, for the love of all that is holy, give us access to the dev creator. Just to remove, we don't need one feature.
Join us
Doesn't
in
matter. We don't
prayer,
need the rest of the
bruh.
feature.
I
Just
don't know if you're doing it. Come on.
just
RDG,
to remove
come on.
polls, please.
Come on.
Pray to
Please.
the community
Let
team
us
to
remove
get the
polls.
information off to the
Please,
developers.
Just let
please,
us get
God,
rid of
hear
them.
my prayers.
Then we won't have these issues.
Drink beer.
Oh, my
Oh
goodness.
man. Okay.
Do we have like callers now or something?
No, we
Blake-
need to talk.
Blake
We
joined in the
still
other
need to talk about the podcast. We still need to talk.
Yeah, we still need to
So
change.
this is
topics.
going to be a 2-hour podcast. Then.
No, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be
Okay.
fine.
Oh, my
No one from
goodness.
Rockstar's watching anymore. That's probably true.
As soon as
Okay,
I hear
so-
issues, like, all right.
We want to kind of gauge the opinions on the podcast. I think we've done 3 weeks now. We're into the fourth one. You can give your opinions based on this one as well. The first one was kind of just the first one. We just did it to get it done, really, didn't we? And it was obviously just us
That
three.
one could have been. That one could have been a Bruffy rambles about how I'm starting a podcast.
Yeah.
Just with 2 other people. you know.
Yeah.
So.
Two
So-
randos.
With the
no one
next
cares
two, I think the last two were very much more regimented in the topics that we had, and we kept to various topics. We talked about them in a more serious way, I guess. Certainly the second
like
one.
Yeah, the
and
second
then
one,
this.
the least, and no one watched it, by the way. No one watched the second one. Okay, no one watched it.
Yeah.
But it was the best
Why?
episode so far.
Satch says the last guest was great.
I don't know.
Um,
I don't know.
So,
I feel like you
and
say
then
that
we've
'cause
got
you did a lot less talking than us.
we've got this
think that's
one
why.
again, which is kind of just us chatting about random stuff and chilling.
Well, I mean, random. We've had 2 topics. Well, 3.
Yeah, but I mean, like we've
So-
been a bit more freely talking about them rather than having specific topics all the time that we're going to be going through. What are people's opinions, and people in the chat can tell us now as well. But also,
Yeah.
in the
like to
comments
hear
of the
your
YouTube video when this goes up on
down
YouTube.
below. All
Yeah.
3 of us read them, by the way.
Yeah.
And for that
yeah.
one guy
Wow.
that's going to post ZZZZZ stick to gameplay, right?
Again,
Welcome
because he's
back.
done it every single one. But he won't see that, though,
Yeah.
because he's not watching the podcast. He just comes to leave that comment. So he won't see
I
you
guess-
say
Yeah,
it.
without a doubt. That's it.
But don't worry, we'll all comment on his comment and tell him.
I mostly read the comments when I'm drunk, so
Oh, that's a good combination. That's
So
You'll get
give
some
us
good
some thoughts
responses.
about what you liked, what you didn't like, what you would like to see from the podcast, what you think it lacks,
yeah, I'm
which
more
weeks have been
interested in
best,
what people would like to see.
Yeah,
Myself,
you know.
in the future.
Also, I was thinking, because whilst people tell us that in the chat, I mentioned this at the very start, that do we still want to continue with weekly podcasts, or do we want to move to 2 weekly podcasts?
I do. I'd like to continue weekly.
I like the sound of that. I don't know.
That's more
No.
exposure for myself.
No,
And
I
at
meant
least one
one every
game.
2 weeks, not
Yeah, I
two
know.
Oh,
a
no,
week.
no, nope.
No,
Stay on
What?
1 a week. Oh, two every
What are you
week?
saying right
no,
now?
one
What is-
one every 2 weeks.
So a bi-weekly show. You want to move from a weekly to a bi-weekly show.
Yeah,
you crazy?
I'm putting it out there as a, so we don't, because we had issues this week with trying to figure out.
Did we?
what
This
we were
is going to
talking
end up being
about.
one of the
Lad.
better episodes.
No,
This mad
before
lad over here.
before we started the podcast, this has just been one of those where we just sat and talked about random stuff, but we were having issues with the guests, and we never seemed to be prepared in time. 2 weeks, once every 2 weeks would give us more time for that. And this was something that I said before we even started when we were originally talking about it. Are we, can we do a weekly podcast? Are we, getting burnt out?
Clearly.
And things like
Clearly.
that. So it was just a question. I'm just putting the question. All I'm doing is just bringing it up and don't look at me as if I'm like going crazy or taking away your baby or
You're a
something.
psychopath.
It was just putting the question. Okay, most people seem to be thinking weekly, so I guess we're just going to stick with
the
weekly.
way I look at it, our viewer numbers on Twitch have stayed stable, and in general, like if we can, if the YouTube views end up at like that kind of 6K, 5K mark every week, we're doing a good job. I think, people are enjoying the show.
The whole point of this was when we started this was that you didn't want it to be so serious, so
Yeah, you're right.
planned out. You want this is
Having
real.
said that-
This is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Having said that, I've got to say that I think this has probably been my favourite of the podcasts that we've done so far. This one right now, I've
We
enjoyed
talked
this
about
one.
you all
That's
podcasts.
just because
Is
the
that why?
Yeah, but I like that more free flowing talk, and I think the previous two, because we were a bit more regimented about what we were doing and talking about, I feel that lacked that a little bit. I kind of
Having
like
a mix is good.
I
in
like
my
the
opinion.
format of more just 3 guys or 4 guys talking about something. But I think when we have a
Why's it
guest,
gotta be guys? Oh right, there are no women on the internet. Never mind.
when we have a
No
guest, we
grills.
do have a specific topic to talk about, and it's difficult to have this sort of more chilled out approach. But then again, we don't need to have every podcast with a guest like this one. So I don't know. People in the chat, tell us what do you think?
I'm pretty sure the people have spoken.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
They
back
want-
and read it. They want weekly.
They want just
The straw poll is definitely in favor
that's
of weekly.
obvious.
So
Just me and Nas. Should we kick out this Bruffy guy? Is that something that we should do?
also
I
do it
think-
all on my channel, but I just don't come.
Yeah, just don't be involved. You can
Yeah,
can
just give me
moderate
your
it or
stream
something.
key and I'll take care of the
That's
rest.
it.
Interact with the chat
That's
a bit
it.
more. Some people are saying. I mean, we could.
Yeah, well, it's hard to break from a discussion to the chat if like something. I mean, we try our best. We've mentioned it quite a bit in this
Yeah,
episode.
I think
with,
it's more.
Sean pitching in, but
It
it's
lacks,
when the
it
time
lacks
is right.
hats. It lacks hats, and it likes someone likes more heated topics. So we've done half of that this time. I agree. Some controversial topics are always good to have. Stick to gameplay.
Stick to gameplay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Monthly guests. I mean, we could have guests every couple of weeks. That's true. What Satch says, we don't necessarily have to.
I
have
think we
guests
should
every
just
week
have guests when it works out and when it
with the topics
when it happens.
instead of having
Yeah,
a guest.
just-
Instead of forcing a topic or forcing a guest every week, we could just have a guest when we've got a topic to talk about, and we think that guest would bring something to
Exactly.
the discussion. Yeah, that makes
Exactly,
sense.
like-
Yeah.
Like for the guest that we'll have 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
It will
time,
be
yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
have
I think that's fair.
We'll have a good guest in 2 weeks.
I think as long as there's a topic to start things off with, it seems to go long enough just drifting from topic to topic and chatting together with comments from chat, and it works really well. Yeah, I think I like this style of format of what we've done this week, where we just have a topic and then we just go from there to different things. So, okay. I mean, obviously, we'll
That's
get
me every week, Joshua.
We'll look through all of the. Having said, maybe having this has made this one my most favorite of all the podcasts. Maybe this is what I need to have. Maybe I need to take a leaf out of IDT's book every week, and have some apple juice.
How much have you had, by the way? I can't.
No,
see
I haven't
you.
had much, to be honest. I just had a pint.
Just okay. That's nothing. That's not even close to what I've
people
had.
in the UK. Well, speaking of apple juice, do we have an apple juice minute?
We do.
This is glass. This must be fancy. It's in a bottle now.
Yeah.
Instead of a can.
You would think. You would think.
Ah, I guess not then.
Oi,
No,
boys.
to go through Choke of the Week first.
No,
Are we doing choke of the week?
let's do apple juice minute first, and then we'll do choke of the week. There ain't no rules on the order of things.
Yeah, there's no rules.
This is free flowing, man.
Yeah.
Where we're
Come
going,
on.
we don't need rules, all right?
You haven't even had my revelation.
Except no heavy cursing, because we want ad revenue from
Yeah,
YouTube.
ad. And that YouTube
Family
money
friendly.
that
Well,
we get no part
and by
of.
we, I mean Bruff.
Yeah, we get Bruffy some YouTube money.
Go on then.
Okay, oi, boys. I'm really going all out on this for you because I again spent over $20 on a 24 pack. Like, this is all for
I
you,
can
and I
hear
have
my
no
wallet
money.
crying on the
You
other
have
side
no.
of the desk.
It's all
by
for
that
us.
amount of money.
It's all for the viewers that you have no money from spending it all on alcohol. Okay.
Have you had the champagne of beers? I bet you have. It's a Miller High Life.
Oh my god.
It's okay. Tastes pretty good, I guess. It's in bottles. It looks cool. This is the coolest bottle I think I've had so far because this is the only bottle I've had so far. If you're,
Man, I've
if you're a
seen
poor
Pepsi
college
bottles that
kid,
are cooler than that
if you're,
thing.
if
What are
you're,
you talking
if you're a
about?
poor college kid, semi-poor, I guess, because this, again, most expensive so far. You should probably suck one, right? Live the high life. That was my
The
application.
Choking Hazard podcast brought to you by Miller Lite. Miller Lite. Live the high life. The high
Please
life?
drink
No.
responsibly.
Yeah, please drink responsibly.
Hey, yeah, drink responsibly.
Also brought to you by Pepsi and Chex Mix and,
And United Airlines.
and YouTube Red.
RDT's apple juice minute. You passed. You didn't. Did you pass? Have you even had it marked? Are you definitely? You finished your education, right? Recently.
I'm done. Yeah. I had my last final last
Round of
night.
applause.
Yeah, good
Round
job.
of applause for RDT.
Good job.
For me. Go me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all we're going to talk about. That was just
Now I'm the only uneducated one here. I'm like feel bad now.
Should we do choke of the week?
Move it right over into
Let's
the
move
choke
it
of the
right
week.
over to the
Brand new segment.
Nas loves it.
Of course I do.
Let's.
And you gotta grab the boom.
GGs.
You gotta make sure to grab the boom. That makes it more radio.
Thank you. All I did was what I was supposed to do. That's amazing.
All right. Okay.
No, yeah, postdoctorate. Good one.
GGs. So this is our debut of choke of the week. How we've done this is the people submit their chokes to a specific form. Normally the form is on
What
Discord,
command is that in chat?
but there's
for
probably
us?
a command. I don't know what it is. MB Hammer.
Yeah, does our producer have any info on that? What's the command?
Your chokes.
There it is.
Exclamation mark your chokes. There you go.
So
and you'll be able to.
your chokes.
The
and
way
that will
we're
pull
doing
up
this,
a
we're doing
menu.
this differently to the content creator stream, where you submit a track and it's always there. We're going to be doing it where you resubmit every week. So if your choke doesn't win that week, then you have to resubmit for the next week. You can submit the same clip, or you can submit a different clip, whatever. But it's going to be a weekly thing. But basically, what we do is people submit their chokes, then we play them all on the stream, and then it's up to you guys in the chat who are actually watching.
Or play
to
the top ones on
Yeah, we're
stream,
going to play
by
the
way.
best ones. The
Top
three that we've decided were the best. Then we're gonna play. When we're gonna play them all, and you guys will decide which one is the best choke.
Which one is the Choking Hazard podcast? Choke of the week.
Choke of the week.
There you go.
Radio
WH.
voice
There you
is
go.
class.
Come on.
Nice.
And remember, you know, the chokes are when you're doing well and have a fail,
Here we
not
go.
just a random fail. I'm gonna say this every time. I can't handle it.
Here we go. Buckle up, everybody. We're going in.
All right, okay. Let me get the screen up. So.
Have you made a screen so you can see all of us at the bottom yet?
No,
You
I'm
done
not that good yet.
Of course you haven't. Of course you haven't.
Well, it was because we were having issues, weren't we? We were having visual RDT zoomed in issues.
Always issues. Always.
Okay, so this is our first clip for Choke of the Week.
Brought to us by who?
Brought
Who's
to
this,
us
brought to
by
us by?
K-Dog Honda 777.
Ah, K-Dog.
Okay.
Coming along nicely on a hot lap, I imagine. And oh, that has not worked out well. So yeah, we have had a week of this, I suppose, but that was just my choke to showcase what it was going to be like. So that was number one.
With that last clip, he should take it as a sign.
You should take it as a sign.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Do I
So-
need to walk away now?
Our second choke
God, no.
coming from I'm Awesome. 5th place.
Are you joked? I don't know how awesome you are.
Wow, that's interesting how they ended up right there.
It's
You
love.
can't-
It's
you
meant
can't
to
get
be.
back off. It's meant to be, it is. So
What
that
two
was,
cars were involved in that incident, by the way?
Say again?
Oh,
What
What?
two cars were in that incident? Let me
The
take a look.
Banshee and the Tyrus, I think it was.
That's how an 811 is born. Top
did
speed.
you write these down? Like-
No. No. I
And
don't write
then-
anything down.
Our
I
third
thought you worked off a script.
choke from who was a hockey rink with Rockstar's inability to create tracks properly. I'm not going to rant about it. And
No,
there's
thank you.
myself.
A little bit.
He must have been watching my stream or video in the background because you can hear it in the background of the view. But I mean that's bad luck. That initially that he had an incident and he's now down in second. He was so far in the lead as well.
And that's just what happens.
I think the double
Yeah.
is what ruins it. Like he gets into first and then misses it again. So
Nice
he
guys
has
finish
2
last.
bites of the cherry to actually win the race.
What a shame.
What a shame.
He definitely missed the mark. There,
Did you say 2 bites at the cherry?
He had 2 bites of
That's
the cherry.
That's an expression. I'm just gonna go with it. I wasn't gonna
I
ask.
have never heard that before.
He had
I
2
was-
bites of the cherry. He had 2 chances. He had 2 chances at it. He had 2 goals.
A cherry. I guess if you're like dangling a cherry, because
It's a saying, all right.
you only need one bite at a
No,
cherry.
let's not.
Cherries are
dispute
really
the
small.
saying.
So
All right,
it's up
look.
to you guys in the chat, and for anyone watching this on YouTube, this is why you should come on a Friday and watch. You can get involved in the chat
You can
and
get
get involved in choosing who's the choke of the week. It's up to you guys to decide which becomes the choke of the week for this week. Who's it going to be? What are you guys? No, let's not influence what we think should be the choke of the week just yet. We won't
After
give
the
our
voting
thoughts.
is
After
closed,
the
we'll
voting,
give our thoughts.
after the voting is closed, yeah. MB Hammer can tell us when the voting is closed, so that we don't know the results until we actually receive them.
Yeah, so be sure to cast your vote now for week 4 of the choke of the week, our first week.
I mean, what do you guys think the
that
best
made no
choke
sense.
or the worst choke? I don't really know which one.
Well, that's what we just said. We're going to wait until people.
Yeah,
have
we're
got
going to
their
do
vote
that
in,
after they vote,
so we don't
So
influence their votes.
I don't listen to you guys.
look, I have a
honestly.
lot of
No, clearly.
influence in this community. If
Clearly.
you didn't know.
I just do
If I
my
tell them
own
to vote
thing.
for something, they will vote for it. So we don't want to influence it.
2 bites of an apple and Bruffy is gone. I mean, that's true.
It should be my podcast.
You need to make a sting for choke of the week, Nos. Come on, got to get on this.
Oh goodness.
You mean Blade should make it?
Yeah, Blade.
Yeah,
should
Blade.
be something, exactly.
Thank
How
you.
we
While
doing
we're
on
waiting, Blade did suggest if you wanted some a preview of something that we're working on.
The RP
Hold on.
stuff. We'll
yes.
we'll see.
Look,
what
I'll
we-
just look. It's a minor thing. Here, I'll post it in chat for everybody. How about that?
Yeah, do that. Yeah, showcasing the cars. Is that the Twitch
Well, it's just
highlight?
it's one car and it's a small preview of said car.
All right, okay. Let's open it. So, how are we doing on the voting numbers? Hammer, how are we? Our producer.
Choke number 1 is currently in the lead by a fair amount, I would say. Yeah, we've got 44 votes for choke 1, 32 for choke 3, and 18 for choke 2. So it looks to me as if Mr. K-Dog Honda is our winner this week.
Interesting. Interesting.
And that's
95
gonna be your
votes
choke
in
of the
total.
week.
Our choke of the week was.
And that's gonna
K-Dog
be the clip
Hondas.
was here's your sign by K Dog.
Here's your sign. Okay,
RDT's gonna kill himself by the end of this show.
God.
But there you go.
I'll
There's
show
your-
people the RP picture, because people who are watching this on YouTube are going to be like, "Wait, what was that thing that he linked in the chat? What was it all about?" That's it. That's a taste of what's
we're
to come
just-
from the
Yeah,
RP
we're just
server.
adjusting some things, putting some things in. It's gonna be fantastic.
Which one did we think was a choke? The best choke, personally.
RDT, you first.
I'm gonna say what Stregbo called the Karma Sutra. It was
There you
That-
go. Good job. See, you're rolling with it. You gotta have
know.
confidence in your bad jokes. Your confidence in your bad jokes makes them good jokes.
the
That's-
Karma Sutra. I think the what was it, the Banshee and the something else flipping over and just
That'd be the
spooning.
Banshee and the Tyrus.
Yeah. Is that what it
Banshee and the
was?
Tyrus just spooning. That
Yeah.
to me. No offense
Very
to K-Dog,
explicit.
who's
Okay.
watching right now, but
Okay.
I like that one.
All right. Nos, what did you think?
Probably K Dogs. I agree. I agree with chat.
Yeah.
It was. It
Of course
was.
you do.
I,
Always appealing to that.
I like it. You know, he slammed himself right in there. He just shoved it right in, and he was stuck. So
Wants to be popular,
Well,
whatever.
Personally, it's interesting that we've had 3 different choices for this, because I would have gone for the last one, because I
Really?
feel like that was a
Because
proper.
people rant about it.
That was a proper choke, because
That's a
he
proper
was
joke on Rockstar's
way in
part.
the lead, and he
You're
messed
a
it up.
joke philosopher.
He
It's
he
so
was
annoying.
way in the lead,
You
and he
gotta
messed it up.
analyze
And then
it.
he had a second bite at the cherry. He had a second try, and he got back in the lead, and then he messed it up again. So I think
That was a pretty.
that was my
I agree
personal
with you on
favorite.
principle, but
On
Yeah,
principle.
I guess.
But I can
principle,
see
you are
why people
correct.
went for the first. It was pretty close though. You know, what was it, 40% to 30% from 1 to 3. So, but yeah, K-Dog
think K-Dog's
Honda's
was
first
just
clip
flashy
with the
enough.
Zentano straight into the
Yeah.
sign was the first proper choke of the week for the Choking Hazard podcast.
yeah, there we go. So we've got a real choke and our not a choke. So there you go.
Pretty much. Are we thinking?
So congratulations to the 3 clips that were chosen.
Yeah.
Good job.
Congratulations,
Good job for being
K-Dog.
that
You
terrible.
win nothing.
Yeah, you're off.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
awful
Well,
at driving.
he may win
Congratulations.
something in the future, because we are
course.
thinking
Oh,
of thinking of some sort of plan that may happen where there will actually be a prize for a choke for the choke of the
Ooh.
week.
Like
All
that.
right, well, I'm just gonna start throwing races left and right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Now you're gonna have people choking on purpose.
Oh, I'm in first. Look, a tree. Bam.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to submit your choke of the week, you can do so by clicking the thing in the chat now, and that'll probably be posted on Discord as
Yep!
well.
Exclamation your chokes in
Yeah.
Ruff's Twitch chat.
If
That'll bring up
if
a
you're
Google
watching this
document
on
for you to
YouTube,
submit.
I should probably put that link in the description as well, so people can look there. Is there an audio-only version of the podcast? We should mention this because quite a few people have asked for this. Actually, I'm surprised.
We're working.
We need to
they
get
want
that
to listen
sorted.
to it on the way to work or while
Yeah.
they're working out or
We
whatever.
will
they
get
do
that
in their
sorted.
free
Now
time.
that we're sort of like 4 episodes in, it's about the right time to sort of try and get that sorted. So I'll look into it
Yeah.
you know, during this week, and we will get started. There will be an audio version of the podcast somewhere.
And all the previous episodes are gonna be.
All
on
the
there.
previous episodes, yeah, of course. So people who want to just listen to it rather than watch it on YouTube and watch our beautiful faces.
So wait, do we want to move in to our caller segment? We don't have very long. Maybe
We
we
don't
can
have long
stretch
left. I was
we
thinking
can stretch
should-
it a little late, maybe.
Let's
about
take
there's
no
let's
time
take
limit.
1 or 2 questions. So we're not going
Okay.
too long. I think every single podcast that we've done so far has been over time of what it
That's
should
okay.
have been. So
That's fine.
we're
You
keeping it
didn't want this
around
to
the
be on
1 hour
schedule.
30-minute
the thing
mark.
is,
but-
when you put out this type of content, there's always going to be someone that says, "Man, I wish this was a little longer." This is for you. So,
Okay.
That's for that one person.
So, do you want to educate everyone on how to call into the show, or do you want me to?
Yeah,
do it?
get on Discord. There is the phone bank on the Discord server. This is only open to Twitch subscribers or Patreon supporters, and you have your specific role in Discord. And you can get into the phone bank. Our producer, MB Hammer, will head in there and take your questions, and he will drag you in.
They can be about any topic. They
Yeah.
can be completely off topic from the show, or it can be on topic. You want to ask another question about Brock's trip,
topic.
or you want to bring up the poll discussion again, or anything else that you would like to do. You can call in and ask your questions.
Yeah, in the phone bank, MB Hammer will head there, take your questions, and then drag you in to ask it when we're ready. Well, I mean, we're ready whenever, to be honest. So as quick as
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
want
so
to
the
get
usually we
camera's
do
gonna
our-
head up there.
Yeah.
We usually do our regular segments while we
We
wait
usually
for
do the
call.
regular segments with
It'll
doing
be
the phone
fine.
bank. Yeah,
Just talk about polls again. For a little bit.
I swear.
We'll have
We're talking
argument
about Polish
again.
people, right?
I mean, I guess we could talk about the
There you go.
the length
Oh.
of the podcast. You know, we've been aiming
Yeah.
for an hour and a half. I've always thought that was a good thing, a good time to aim for. But really, the podcast portion of it would end after about an hour, because we'd have half an hour, 20 minutes at the end with the this section of the questions. So, what do people in the chat think? What do you guys think? What do you
I
think?
think that an hour and a half is a good marker to aim for, but if we shoot out a little high or a little low, or a little off to the side, it doesn't really matter. If it's an hour 45 or if it's an hour 20, we're right in there in that same neighborhood, and I think that's fine.
I wish I
in
was
my
a little
opinion.
bit taller. Wish I was a baller.
No, stop.
Hey, that's what Wondersniff. We're trying to get the chat up in this.
No.
I mean, I wish it was a little bit longer so I could drink a little bit more. But that's,
Right.
you know how it is.
1 hour 30 for podcast, and then 15 for calls. Someone said, Remo said
That
1
could
hour
work.
30 at least, 1 hour 45 at most. I kind of agree that 1 hour 45 or more would be too
A
long.
little excessive.
It would be excessive.
Yeah, unless
If
if it's a very special discussion that we just cannot break off of for some reason.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
a little later, but
I mean, we won't
no,
know.
I would draw the line at 2. 2 hours is far too long. If
Yeah.
you're going over 2 hours, that's far too long, and that's where I would draw the line.
a few people
I
are
don't think
saying
we'll really
90
know.
minutes max. 90 minutes, an hour and a half is good.
Yeah, like I said, it's a good mark to aim for, but for a little longer, a little,
Yeah, I mean,
or
if
not that
if
long,
it's
that's
1
fine.
hour 15 minutes because we don't have callers one time, we run out of things to say. If it's 1 hour 45 minutes because we've got a lot to say like this week, and then we have callers at the end, doesn't matter too much. But if we're like 90 minutes is the aim, and then 15 minutes either way, but certainly no more than that, I don't think.
Yeah.
All right,
MB
so
Hammer.
MB Hammer, have you screened the calls?
I have screened the calls, boys.
All right, so
first
who's
up
our
on the
first
line,
caller? And I'll
we've
take this
got
call.
Mr. We've got Mr. Danny Green with a question.
Hello,
Danny.
caller. You're on the Choking Hazard podcast, where we shove our opinions down your throat. What's your question? There you
Yes.
go.
Oh no.
Oh, these
This
are
is-
great.
Uh,
Who's your
This is
question for
true.
first? Who's your question for, Danny?
all right, so this is for anybody or all of you.
Okay.
My question is, if you guys, besides removing polls, if you guys were to
Oh, boy.
bring, if you guys were to bring one feature to the game to make it better, what would that be?
Just a feature. All right.
Feature, game mode, basically, where would you like to see the game going besides that dev creator?
Open class racing is what I'd say. Just one class. You can select all your cars. and we can do all the events that we need to do, and that's it.
I agree. That's it. I'm done. That's it.
Yeah, I'll choose the same answer because.
All right, there we go. And thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Get the hell out of here.
No, that we've wanted multi-class racing in particular for a long time has been something like that's a more regimented approach to it. So the multi-class aspect where you can actually go into a race with randoms and choose a multi-class race has always been one of those things of how Rockstar could implement it as a mode. But at this point, who cares if it's a mode? Just open class instead of supers or sports. Just go to open. We can choose any car. I fully agree. We just need that. That's fine. Dev creator and then that.
I want choppers, like motorcycles, choppers. That's the slang term.
Oh, are you one of those MC guys?
I'm a
MC
biker babe. I'm just one of them. I want choppers versus muscle cars. That's something I want. You'd have to find a balance, but that's something I've wanted since the beginning because I think that's the most badass just event that would ever happen.
Yeah. No, open class racing for me, absolutely. The possibilities. Second to that would be the ability to have all the classes. So emergency, industrial, service, everything, and all the cars available for all the classes. But yeah, open class racing, so we can just use anything is absolutely. It shouldn't be. They've already got it in one of the adversary modes, right? I can't remember which one it is, but it already exists in one of the adversary modes that you can choose any car from any class. It's ridiculous. Don't get me started.
Oh, you're
this
already
question
started.
could turn into a rant.
You might never stop. So anyway, Danny, thank you for your question. It's a good question.
Thank you, guys.
It was all right question, and thanks.
That was a fantastic question.
Yeah, good question.
There's so many answers, but.
All right, so who's our next caller? RDT, do you want to take this one?
No, I don't.
All right, Brock,
I have nothing prepared. This is your
I don't
segment.
have anything prepared. Okay.
Well, too bad.
Okay, I'm good at
All right, so
speaking.
who's our next
Okay,
caller,
go on.
MB Hammer?
Up next, we got NextRex Gaming.
Welcome to the Choking Hazard podcast, NextRex Gaming. What is your question? I can't do it. I can't do it. There's no way. You're laughing at me, right? You're laughing, and you've prepared for weeks all these stings that you do every single week.
Lines down. It's not
You've
fair.
got them all down. If you were just thrown in there to say what you got to say, you couldn't do it either. So don't start with me. I'm going. I'm done.
All right, next, Rex. What's your question?
What's your question?
Who's your
Bruffy,
your
could
question
you
for?
please
What is your
first
question?
stop choking?
Oh, for God's sake.
Hey, we
Choke
don't
of the
need
week. I've
different
just won choke of the week. That's choke for next week.
There you go. And that's your Choking Hazard podcast, Choke of the Week. With Anyway, next, Rex. Who's your question for, and what is your question?
My question is for all of you, and my question is what do you think about people are joining Nodo or an other racing crew, and then start making videos like you are making, Yunus make videos about them, and you, Bruffy, and you, RDT, are also in racing. What do you think about those people and other YouTubers who are doing this, or maybe even testing stuff? And would you like somebody like them in the podcast or something like that?
So essentially you're asking if we would bring people from Nodo and our community onto the podcast. Basically, that's what you're asking.
And also what we think about
other
people in the
proper
community.
racing YouTubers, streamers, something like that.
So just in general,
GTA
people
stuff.
who are,
What
yeah,
we think
well, I
about
mean, that's-
GTA YouTubers who are standing out as being proper
that was
racing
a
within our
mixed-up
community. Yeah. I mean, I don't see if people want to make videos about GTA racing, then go ahead. The more the merrier. Personally, I think.
is this more of a question of Bruff? How do you feel about me riding your coattails? Is that more of the situation?
Yeah. How do you feel about me doing some testing of cars in a different format and then potentially being on the podcast? I feel like NextRex is going for the aspect of I'm going to start up a YouTube channel, and I might do some car testing. And maybe would you like me to go on the podcast at one point to give an alternative view?
No, not really. I want to start YouTube and I want to start testing, but I don't want to be here. So this is your area.
I mean,
I don't want to be at all.
I don't want to be here.
Why am I here?
I like watching the podcast, but my English, I have so many vocabulary issues, so that wouldn't be great.
That's a different audience altogether, though. Because not everyone can get the information that Bruffy provides. And if you have similar testing, if you can still provide valid testing that gives an idea, because even as much as everyone loves to say it, even Bruffy isn't bulletproof in his testing. It's a general idea, more or less. Because different cars work well for different classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be right every time.
Yeah, you can't be right every time.
I've said this often, and it's so difficult to try and get this message across. And I have
this is why I want to jump on this as well, so people can get another
my
opinion.
man, that's my strategy. Good job. Jump on the bandwagon.
This is
Everybody
so-
aboard.
This is
like
the
maybe
NOS
like-
strategy. The NOS strategy of riding on the coattails. This is exactly what NOS does, and he loves it. And it's been very successful for him. Well done, NOS. Actually, well done.
I mean,
Thank you.
think about like 10 people or so doing proper testing, and then
Let me answer the question next, Rex. Let me answer the question.
Jeez.
Because, Jesus,
Back up, bro.
you asked the question and you haven't let us answer yet.
Sorry.
I know what you mean, right?
Shut up, next Rex. Let me answer this.
All right, anyway.
I've said this so many times, and I've tried to say this and try to get this message across, that my testing is as general and as wide-ranging as it is possible to be. Testing every single car under the same situation. Like I said in one of the recent fact-finding videos, I can't test every single car on a different track. I can't. There's not enough time in the day to do that with all the other things going on. So I always encourage different testing as long as it brings something new. I try to make it as general as possible so that it's applicable to 60-70% of situations. It might not even be that, but I try to make it as general as possible. So there's always these extremes of stunt race testing, of hill testing, of Blaine County, one track in Blaine County with smooth roads testing. There's uphill top speed testing, downhill top speed testing. There's so many different ways to test vehicles that I absolutely encourage people to do it as long as it brings something new. I wouldn't encourage people to go on my track and do exactly the same thing that I do, because that doesn't give any new information. It doesn't. What's the point? But if you're gonna have something that's different, then by all means, it's important, and it helps us all get a greater understanding of what's going on at the finer edges of performance and in different situations. So that's personally the way I go for it.
That's why you should really listen to Bruffy's video with sound on, because a lot of the times he says, well, this is grippier than
He
that.
just
And
says
then
the
also
same thing over and over again. I don't have time for that.
No, this
I
is
just
true. A
go
lot of
to the
people.
video where what's in first, what's the best car, I go buy that. That's all I do.
That I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
people do that, and that's the problem. And then people.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Yeah,
That is the
then
problem.
people
You are
don't
correct.
listen to the differences that I might say in a testing video, and then they go and say this is the best car for every situation, and then that's how arguments start, because it's not, and it's not a black and white thing like that. There's so many shades of grey in between it that you need to. Well, you don't need it, but it's always handy to have that. And the racing community does it already. The racing community are always testing various different vehicles on various different tracks. The racing community are already doing this all the time. It's just that there might not be someone out there doing it on YouTube to show everybody else. You know,
that's why four people wrote the gospel, you know?
When an event happens on a track, people are there testing all different cars and find out which car is the quickest on that track for that event. They don't necessarily just go to my video and see that car. My videos can help narrow the field down, so you've got a few cars to test rather than every single car in the game. But that's what my testing is all about. to cover everything in a small number of ways, there's certainly certainly a possibility to test a lot of different ways, a small number of cars, or just do it in a different way, because there's so many different variables. So, that's it.
I'll answer the other portion I kind of wanted to address of having people on the podcast. And as far as guests goes, the guests that we have in this podcast are always going to be relevant to the discussion, whether they're in the GTA community or not, or they'll always have something to add. And they might be from the Nodo community, they might not. They might be fellow colleagues on Twitch or on YouTube, they might not. But one thing is for certain, if you're someone who wants to be on the show, you probably won't be. If you're like asking to be on the show, that's just something that is not. It's a kind of a topic that I wanted to address because I saw some people, not gonna name any names, but some people were asking if they could be on the podcast in some form, and we contact you. You don't ask to be on, basically. So I hope I'm speaking for everybody there on that for both RDT and Bruff, but. Yeah, I wanted to address that as well.
And I think with our future ideas of we're not going to specifically have a guest every single week regimented like we have done for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, when it makes sense, we'll have a guest. We don't feel like we have to have one, I don't think. I think that's the conclusion I've certainly come to.
I think this podcast worked. I think it did.
Yeah. Thank you, Next.
Thank you, Next Rex.
Good questions.
For that question.
I find it good that Nos has found out my little nose peek where I wanted to have, like this answer what he's given.
Okay, all right.
Because I've often seen in the podcast, because I've watched all of them live, that there are some people like, how can I get into the podcast? How can I join them?
Yeah,
I mean, there's the question section at the end where I'm in at the moment. Yeah, but like I was like maybe like many people want to come in here and want to be all the podcast in.
I agree. It needed to be said. It needed to be mentioned.
Honestly, I don't even know how
I'll be the bad guy. So. All right, look, I'm already the guy that doesn't play with viewers on his own stream, so I'll be the guy to tell you no, you're not joining.
Yeah, you can be the bad guy.
Thank you for your question.
Alabama Hammer. There we go.
Thanks for having me here.
All right, you're welcome.
And
I think that's
going to wrap it up.
That's us done. That is us done for the fourth episode of the Chugging Hands podcast. We went quite further into this one than we have any before. This has been the longest episode so far. I hope people have enjoyed it. We are open always to the opinions of people. So if you've got thoughts, if you've got suggestions, the kind of things that you want to see, let us know. Let us know in the comments on YouTube. Just put it there. We all read it. Like we said earlier.
Yeah, maybe there's someone that there's something you'd like to be talked about, or maybe you want us to stick to gameplay. Whatever your wish is, put it in the comments down below, or put it in chat in one of the episodes. We'll see it.
Yeah. So. If you're sleeping and just want gameplay, comment that too.
Exactly.
I love it. We're even getting podcast memes now, so it's perfect. Everyone's gonna upvote when he leaves that comment. If people see it, they'll upvote it now because everyone knows about it.
If you see that comment, if you made it this far, what's his name? East you Coast need to hit sort by newest, and you need to scroll all the way down, and you find his comment. And it's not going to be one of the imitator comments, all right? Can we give his name, because he is a big fan of the show.
I'm big fan.
I'm looking for it. Relax.
It's a blue. He's got a blue picture.
His name is Coast.
Commercial. I got a beer commercial. That's pretty fitting.
Look, his name is Coast on YouTube. You'll see him in the comments. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find that comment. That is the original ZZZ comment, not one of the imposters, and you want to upvote that one. All right, we're gonna can we shoot for 500,000 likes on this?
There it is,
guys.
There it is. Every single one. Every single time we've had that. Every single one.
I think upvote his comment.
The first one was legitimate. The first podcast was legitimately done, and then the others have come back specifically to leave it because we've mentioned it. So
yeah.
So can we get 500 likes on his comment? Come on. Come on. There we go.
I can guarantee he doesn't watch the podcast. There's no way he'll be watching this right now. But
it's
you know.
all right, guys.
I know.
I'm going to look
That's
into
the
getting
point.
on as a guest. So
Get him on as a
Yeah, can we get
I'm in negotiations. With
Right,
his,
okay.
his manager now.
All right, guys, we shall end it there. Thanks for watching,
Thank
everybody.
you so
once
much for
again.
watching.
Do you want to say
I am
goodbye?
not a crook. That's all I
Goodbye.
need to do.
See you later, guys.
Bye.